How's it going? Everybody out there on Twitch, SomaWolf here today, bringing us back to the black box of Captain SomaWolf. Last scene, exploring the Sunless Skies around New Winchester. So, without further ado, let's get back on into it and see where we left off. So last we left off, I believe, we saw a vision of what could happen. SomaWolf had died, but through... Hello, Kira. But through some weird, fucky-wuckiness, he's still alive. There was just a mysterious vision of what could have happened. So, without further ado, I believe then we need to get ourselves back to the Albert clock. Oh, but first, assumed identity. We haven't checked around New Winchester for the assumed identity of the host of Magdalene's. Search for the amenable host's identity. The initial search is fruitless. People giggled at the antiquated fashion on display, at the daguerreotype, the tilt of the jaw, the unfortunate arrangement of hair. But the proprietor of the round table seems to recognize the face.
Oh, yes, right sort he was.
Oh, yes, right sort he was.
She holds the locket up to catch the falling starlight through a window.
Wanted to open up a factory here a few years back. Something went wrong, and there was a workers' revolt. Not been seen since.
You've uncovered nothing definitively conclusive here. You may return to the amenable host or look elsewhere. Well, I guess we'll have to check back at Lustrum. I believe that is the last place we'll have to check, but we have to find it first. Because we found Magdalene's, Port Prosper, Leadbeater, and Stainrod Nature Reserve. We've yet to explore anything really northwest or southwest. So we'll be heading over there at some point soon. A group of concerned Tackities are looking for a skyfaring captain to assist them in retrieving a missing friend.
Captain!
A broad-shouldered Tackity speaks for the group.
A friend of ours.
There are protests.
An acquaintance of ours has sent a message from Hybris. She needs transport back to New Winchester.
He pauses for a breath.
Would you mind picking her up, if you happen to go out that way? She's a filmmaker. Goes by Luminaire. She said she'd never return, so I had to assume she's taken ill. It'd be good to make sure she gets back safely. Hybris lies southwest of New Winchester. You know that, right?
Voices are good. Thank you, Kira. Thank you. You've been asked to bring back a filmmaker to New Winchester from Hybris. Well, we'll be doing that as well. We'll be heading to Port Prosper anyway, so we might as well. Perhaps not. So we got that as well.
God, we have so much stuff!
Let's hire on a small bit of crew. Hire on only a few. There's a buzz of chatter as your new crew boards your engine. A brief scuffle over the berths is swiftly resolved. Lost 40 sovereigns, but that's fine. That's fine. In the meantime, then, I guess it is time we headed south to Port Prosper. It was on the 2nd of May, 1905, that Captain Soma left the port of New Winchester, making south for Port Prosper. He had a fair bit of cargo and a fair bit of supplies and fuel. He also was not paying too much attention to his driving as he passed through Scamp's Narrow. Finally leaving behind a smell and taste of smog in the grind of iron on iron as he left New Winchester for Port Prosper. A Tackety scout, seemingly piloted by a drunk driver, was also following him in pursuit. Though whether he was following him or just drunk off his ass is anyone's guess. Eventually, the Tackety scout did abandon the search for Port Prosper. Stardate 2231.5. May 3rd, 1905. The sky is cold as the incautious driver spots a spot for which to dock, an abandoned homestead. The settlers who lived far beyond the edge of civilization relished the hardships of solitude. They will fiercely defend their small territories, but occasionally welcome company and trade. Here is an abandoned homestead. Its roof is sagged and its windows empty of glass. For every settler that makes a life for themselves in the Reach, another is lost. Captain Soma, despite the relatively low chance of success, decided to search the abandoned homestead, confident in the idea that there would be no one returning. He was met with success. He found bottles of homemade wine in the cellar, pots of meat pickling under soil by the doorstep, salvageable tools in an overgrown shed, and modest treasures that could mean the difference between life and death if fortunes were to turn. Another box of supplies prepared, he continued on his way to Port Prosper. A shipment of bronzewood and Corster nectar, an entire gourd of Corster nectar, needed be delivered. Which was all that need be delivered to complete the clock tower back at port. Tacitus may argue he is helping the stovepipes by doing this, but to a lone skyfaring captain, money is money, and a job is a job. It is all he needed. It is all he wanted. May 4th, 1905. He noticed an inscription on the memorial to an unknown rat, dedicated to the brave Rattus Faber, who gave their lives in the early exodus to the heavens. How's it going, VGM? Welcome. I'm experimenting with a slightly new style for this one. I am 100% just writing a story on the fly for the adventures of Captain Soma. See, a skyfaring captain out in the Reach. As he made his way to Port Prosper, visions of his death still in his mind from the days before. Maybe the remnants of drink that had been a little too distilled with unknown liquids. Normally it's water, but out in the Reach, water is a bit harder to come by. Often it's more akin to grog or tea that would grace the lips of those seafaring captains. The only thing to remove them from the horrors of their trips and of what they've seen in the Reach. Approaching Port Prosper, the sound of gunfire could be heard out in the distance. What is that? What are you? A glorious dreadnought of the HML Miles. Holy crap, that thing is shiny! Captain Soma decreed. It was not known whether he was drunk. You're gonna start screaming about your horror wife soon? No. He died a long time ago, way before these non-bitch babies did a proper Brexit. That was the only way to play that stream. Let's be honest here. That was the only way to play Layers of Fear. It was not a good game. It was not good. Finally, on the 6th of May, 1905, Soma made dock in Port Prosper. No longer did the smell and taste of smog burn at his lips and nose. He'd arrived in what is to be considered an area of true civility, as they would describe themselves. Crammed at the feet of a hulking crag, Port Prosper is a little London divided into an affluent West End and and a poorer, less fortunate East End. Queen's Cross is a busy station, crowded with engines that had arrived through a nearby transit relay from Albion. Immediately, SomaWolf set to one of his main sources of income, writing the port reports. Be it for Victory Hall or for the Prudent Secretary at Company House. These port reports are the only methods by which we may receive news about what happens out in the Reach. The factories continue to belch out smoke, while over the bridge, hopeful crowds gather outside the Admiral Nelson. Lovers can be seen strolling arm in arm along the promenade at a respectable distance from their chaperones. There was a brief protest outside the Windward Company factory, swiftly quelled. The scones at Nelson were as good as ever, though the piquancy of the jam was less than might be desired. It is a narrow streets, huddled in the shadow of a great crag. Banners display the stony features of her renewed majesty. Wealthy West Enders strut by, exchanging polite greetings and veiled gossip, while city East Enders workers file to the hour refining factories. Appealing posters promise fresh, wholesome lives in the Reach to new arrivals, but most of the posters are years old. More newcomers arrive at Prosper than ever leave. Captain Soma was offered a tour of one of the great factories, but declined. He had other business to attend to, mostly at the new clock tower. They planned to call it Albert Clock, in memory of the departed prince consort, but there is a way to go yet. The roof isn't finished, and the clock neither ticks nor bongs. You can see the fastidious inspector up among the workings with a spanner and a can of oil, showing the workmen how it's done. A cheer from the scaffolding as the foreman beams, "An angel bringing gifts!" Actually, you point out that you'll be needing payment. Not only did you risk the ability to pay for fuel and food, but you too risked your life in search for the chorister nectar. Payment would be required if he were to receive the materials for which you brought. You were paid extremely well for the delivery, and the foreman shakes you warmly by the hand.
"Won't take us no time now,"
he says with a grin.
"Maybe we should name the damn clock after you, eh?"
A payment of 800 sovereigns. Seems that civility truly is the name of the place here, for you were paid extremely handsomely. While you no longer have the bronze-winning chorister nectar, you did receive way more money than you would possibly otherwise from just selling the materials as they were. Onwards, the captain went, looking for settlers for which to offer transport. Explorers, adventurers, pioneers, they gather here freshly arrived from Albion, all awaiting transport further into the Reach, encouraging others to seek an adventure. What do we got? A crowd gathers to listen to your tales. Your stories of daring escapes and fingernail victories go down almost as well as the whiskey. Ambition dawns in several bloodshot eyes. Some might even follow through on it when sober. You are now able to offer another settler transport. Simply must move to Titania. From everything I've been given to understand, it's altogether... Sorry. I must simply move to Titania. From everything I've been given to understand... I must simply move to Titania. From everything I've been given to understand, it's altogether divine. His handshake is firm, to the point of rudeness. He leans in close. My time is precious, you understand. I'd appreciate it if you got me there as quick as you can. You shan't go unrewarded for the effort. The settler wishes transport to Titania. And who is I to say no to that? At the promise of handsome pay, Soma stocked up on a little bit of extra supplies and fuel, knowing that he would be well compensated for a swift delivery. Gazing at his map, he planned a trip to Magdalen's as well along the way. A stop for a brief port report once again to be delivered. It was on the 6th of May, 1905, nearly a day later, that he set off for his next trip. Now, more filled, his cargo bay filled with even more fuel and supplies, almost as much as his purse now gleamed with the glint of sovereigns, freshly acquired from his trade, as well as one more passenger than he arrived with. It is on that day that he left. A bed of eels wriggling through the sky on the 7th of May gave the crew a mite bit of fright. But, like everything, it did soon come to pass. And Captain Soma and the crew of the Spatchcock did make way for their next port. It was through the cold and the snow that he had to go, believing that there may be something of value, but unfortunately, it was not but a fool's errand. A waste of fuel and resources. He continued on, mildly solemn, and nothing but another place noted on his map. The Grey Wilderness. Work is so dead and no one else is in the office and I'll sneak on watch. I'm a stowaway. It turns out that that Captain Soma too had one more crew member aboard. Thankfully for My Command 72, the stowaway aboard the Spatchcock, there was no repentant devils aboard who might be looking to deal with such stowaways. Captain Soma nary-minded, though, at the promise of fresh stories to lend future credence to his tales. But good times were not to be had, as a wreck was found. Gleaming with frost, its windows were dark and its engines silent. Perhaps something of value lied within. The hull, yawning and tearing, the damage to the hull was so extensive that the whole chassis was on the verge of collapse. Needing to tread lightly, Captain Soma proceeded aboard with some members of his crew. It was not to be, though. As Captain Soma clambered through the hole, the lamps revealed uncanny marks around it. Were they caused by ricocheting shrapnel or by vast teeth? The boarding party's searches surprisingly hurried. A brief voice was heard on the winds, carried maybe by the eels passed not but a day ago.
I want to be in the story too.
Captain had to ignore these. A tale of terror gained at hearing the voices aboard the wreckage. The boarding party's search was surprisingly hurried. They retrieved only handfuls of valuables before the hull's groans encouraged them to return to the vessel. Not all made it. The wreck buckled with a shriek that might have issued from the throat of hell and spins apart. Shrapnel darting to and fro, scraping at the sky suits. 2 members of the crew were not nearly as fortunate. 2 crew members were lost aboard the wreck, never to be seen again. Not but 42 sovereigns available to Captain Soma for all of his troubles. Leaving the Sahakiel, he turned to continue on his adventure to Magdalen's. Maybe a stay at the host's would do well to quell the terrors that he had just witnessed and heard. On the 8th of May, 1905, Captain Soma made for the Follows. A beautiful location of great mushrooms, glowing in the dim light. The Follows, gorgeous, but always as dangerous. Especially if you're a Tacardy or a stovepipe, for both tended to patrol. Many would consider Magdalen's to be a location that many would hope to see as neutral ground. But people go to Magdalen's for a reason, and the terrors get to people a little too much. As another wreck is found on the 9th of May, 1905, the Perfidious Objectivity. A strange name to be certain about a wreck, gleaming once again with frost in its windows dark and the engine silent. The frost had locked the doors. Captain Soma had 2 options. Stripping it for repairs, or risking life and limb once again in the hopes of further spoils from the groaning hull. Captain Soma, looking at the state of his own ship, the Spatchcock, decided against searching for materials and ordered his crew to steal some of the hull plating. The crew of the Objectivity would not be needing it anymore. The engineers donned sky suits and retrieved salvageable plating, using it to patch the worst of the locomotive's damage. One could be barely forgiven for expecting the engine to now be new. Only minor scrapes and cracks along its hull would ever show that it was once anything less than in perfect condition. That time was not to be kept. A fight between the enduring dreadnought of the HML, Amaranth, and 2 Tacardys was going on outside Magdalen's once again. Not wanting to be involved, Captain Soma quickly skirted around the side, making for Magdalen's with all due haste. This was true. The horrors seen in this war truly would haunt all involved. For there was even some strange creatures from the Reach that wanted in on the excitement, to say the least. Someone made for Magdalene's house of small comfort, the closest thing many skyfarers have to a home. It offers services to alleviate the strain of a life spent too close to the stars. My command, seeing his desired destination, made port at the house of small comforts. Maybe to be seen again, maybe not. He was escaping something as he quickly departed Soma's ship. Soma wondered if there would be further stories that could be heard at some point. Maybe he'd see the stowaway again. Maybe next time he'll force him to pay. Not wanting to dwell on it, Captain Soma, under his breath, bid my command, who he had named the stowaway, a fine farewell, and proceeded about his port reports while his crew made dock. Magdalene's was a buzz of activity. Barely has the clock chimed than a clamor goes up at the front desk, guests rushing to and from the appointments. Some lord was seen in conversation with the amenable host. The East Wing was closed for general access all day. A certain distinguished admiral was seen with his second-in-command entering one of the chambers of regret. Several guests succumbed to an excess of sentimentality and were forcibly removed. All in all, another day spent at Magdalene's. The glass spires of Magdalene's pierced the clouds like swords. Shadowed figures could be seen moving through the gleaming corridors, the identities obscured by the hued glass. Crowds of skyfarers, ministry officials, and merchants all milled about the forecourt, in varying degrees of distress. All watched the clocks set in the great clock tower, waiting for their appointed hour. It was at this time that Captain Soma pondered whether he should notify the amenable host as to his progress at discovering his identity. He had not been able to check at Lustrum yet, but figured while he's here, he might as well notify the host of what he had found, for the host was currently available. Seeking an audience, an attendant escorted Captain Soma through the dazzling violet corridors. The host's red door was always open. The attendant left him just as the clock began to chime. The amenable host reclined in a couch of crushed velvet, a goblet of sparkling wine in his long fingers. Somewhere in the tower above him, the great clock ticked away. As a policy, the host's atrium was always open to guests. He is available to hear opinions, friendly criticism, and suggestions. Today, he has a headache. What would Captain Soma tell the amenable host? He had pursued his memories enough to have an answer. The amenable host closes his hands around his return locket. Now it comes to it. I'm not sure I want to know, but I've sent you out. He drummed his fingers against his cup. We don't guess the truth, so why should I be any different? He fills his goblets for you both. Well, out with it. Captain Soma found some fragments that might form a history. A strike-breaking factory owner, now reformed. Or his identity in Port Prosper. Little evidence, but perhaps enough. He continued to work of the parlor virtue on Port Prosper. Captain Soma, gazing around the location for which he was at, decided to let him know about his possible life in Port Prosper. He raises an eyebrow. Well, there's an origin story for you. He laughs. I can see how it might have led me here. The house is painted, you say? Well, I've remade it in glass. He swirls his goblet. I might have to visit. I can make use of a daughter house. He goes to a drawer and takes out a sealed envelope. For all your trouble. We had told the amenable host that he once owned a house in Port Prosper. It is at this time that Soma was acknowledged by another attendant. He was permitted to socialize with the attendants and observe the behind-the-scenes life at Magdalene's. The amenable host now viewed Captain Soma as maybe not a friend, but definitely a confidant. Captain Soma knew that he had a place to stay, and hopefully a trusted, and hopefully someone for which he too could consider a confidant. Captain Soma, curiosity getting the best of him, decided to peruse backstage. There are always jealous glares when someone parts the violet curtain that keeps the attendants' private space from their work. Backstage, relaxed chatter and the scratchy sound of music over the gramophone filled the air. Clouds of powdered makeup and tobacco washed over Captain Soma, mixed with lavender perfume. Unwinding after a guest is a necessity of life at Magdalen's. He decided to share a drink with one of the actors. A beautiful attendant provided Captain Soma with as much sherry as he could ever ask for. It soon became apparent that you are looking for as much information on skyfaring as they are able. Captain Soma gave as much as time and sherry allowed. The crewmen returned to the locomotive, their eyes red, but they can't seem to stop smiling. Another one. They share a bottle of wilderness chilled wine with a troop of attendants, fresh from a circus performance.
They expect us to keep up with Polymer and Plenties.
One tired amateur acrobat complains.
Should we ask the host for an instructor?
Should we ask the host for an instructor?
That is not a strong woman.
Should we ask the host for an
No, I'm sticking with it.
Should we ask the host for an instructor?
An exhausted strong woman asks. A gray-faced magician shakes his head. This job. Do we need to have experienced everything to be anyone? A waltz can be heard from the upper floors. Someone has requested the recreation of the Sapphire Jubilee. Interested but needing to get to work, Captain Soma decided that he had spent enough time at Magdalen's. One could while away a lifetime here, engaging in perhaps hundreds of others, never needing to return back to their own life. At Magdalen's, one truly could be anyone and anything. But Captain Soma knew this was not for him, for it was the sky and the stars that called to him on his quest. Can I stop talking in third person? Oh, fine. Oh, fine. I decided it was time for me to leave Magdalen's House of Small Comforts. Moving on. I was trying to tell it like it's a story, but fine. I see how it is. I guess it's time for me to check out how this battle's going as well. Seems none had died just yet, but time seems to go a bit slower there. Damn, I just need to stay out of the way. I'm just gonna watch this play out. Unfortunately, I don't have a cannery, so I can't exactly claim any of the any of the wood from that what's it called again? From the strange flying creature. Did it just kill itself on the rocks? Yo, I think it just smacked itself on the rocks. Yeah, the Cantankeree, that's what it's called. The Cantankeree are lumbering, half-fossilized isopods that will attack anything they disapprove of. Given that they are very ancient and murderously grumpy, that means almost everything. The defeated Cantankeree had been blasted to smithereens. Only a cloud of stony chunks remains. Well, I guess dispersing the rubble to lose some terror would be one of the better things to do, as we didn't seem to lose much terror at Magdalen's. Gaining some stories? Maybe. Ooh. Destroyed one of the Tacrides. Ooh, that was close. Alright, let's seize its cargo. The Tacride scout was defeated. Favoring scrappy, versatile engines when not skirmishing with company vessels. They could serve double duty as traders, messengers, or transports. Tackities often carry natural resources they have hewn, farmed, or mined from the Reach. Lengths of bronze wood, vessels of sticky chorister nectar, sacks of boisterous seeds, barrels of hours, freshly dug from some nameless skyrock. What did this one have? Seemed a barrel of unseasoned hours and another Tackety nameplate. I'll have to remember to turn those in next time I make port at Port Prosper. Seems this battle is just about at its end. Both engines seem to be billowing fire and smoke. You could hear the groaning of them as they continued. The massive guns of the dreadnought had finally fallen silent. The hulk hangs in the firmament like shed spider skin on a web. Viewed from the vantage of a fly, its sides are scored and open. Its windows shattered. Smoke billows from its blind eyes. London will not see what transpires here. Well, it would be remiss of old Captain Soma here not to raid it a little bit. After all, they are the bane of smugglers. Surely they keep the best of their finds to themselves. After all, I know I would. A lacquered trinket box. Starlight plays on the silver clasps. Get the fuck out of here, butt! Ooh. Once the clasp had been wrenched off, pinging off the far wall, a drawer full of violet emeralds clatters out of the tormented casing. Sets off your eyes, Captain, a hard-faced crewman says. I now have a cast of Navarretine gemstones. Don't you fire at me. I didn't want to kill you, but you shot at me. Seems none survived that battle. On May 11th, 1905, all the guns had fallen silent. The British windows fogged with the recent steam trails of a place well frequented. And on the 12th, I set off from Magdalen's, stopping only for some more scuttled cargo. After all, I had upgraded my cargo space, and it would be remiss of me not to take advantage. A mistake as a starry-eyed captain roving the waste in search of fuel and instruments decided to attack me. Starman explorers are none to be trifled with, for they think not of their own survival, but merely of the kill. Thankfully, these Starman explorers rarely can keep their engines straight, let alone their own head. Volley after volley was unloaded into the Starman Explorer until they eventually fell silent. The crew of this weathered engine had been driven mad by the winds and stars and the things that haunt the sky. Knowing that I did not have the skills necessary to properly search for one that had not succumbed to star madness, I decided to just loot the hold. Perhaps the engine was transporting something valuable when the crew succumbed. I was unfortunately only able to find a distressingly odored barrel. No one was keen to get close, but we had to. Seems I was able to find an uncanny specimen. Not particularly excited at this find, I continued anyway. 13th of May, 1905. Verdant winds buffet my locomotive. My remaining food swells and sprouting with milk-filled nodules. One of the nodules began to sing. Seems that the Reach decides to claim as much of us as it can. It is no wonder that we find so many star-maddened explorers. Hard to even comprehend what it could be that goes on in these skies. There's a reason Magdalen's does such good business. It is frequented by all kinds of explorers, soldiers, merchants, and other folks of ill or good repute. I continued on my a passage to Titania. It had been far too long since I took on the passenger, and I could hear them getting a bit more antsy, wishing to arrive. On the 14th of May, 1905, as I approached Titania, I could hear a distant drone. "Chorister bees," one of my crewmen muttered. Not excited, but with a job to do, I proceeded on to Titania, making port just as the day approached its end on the 14th of May. Titania is under siege. Chorister bees flood the streets in petals. The thrashing of their wings is a drumbeat of the apocalypse, and the people flee in panic from their mighty stingers. But there is no safe harbor, no respite. All is lost. "All hands! Ready weapons! Fire! God, fire!" Plain song drowns the lamentation. In the fury of the mind, all the world joins death's hymnal. Those who profoundly defy their fates, and those who would beg for wretched mercy. Those who raise their arms, and those who would buckle their knees. The chorister hive takes the lyrics of poets yet unwritten, the unsung songs from lips now forever silent. It is only iron and fire that quietens the voice of carnage, but lo, the song ends only by its own accord. Once the nectar is gathered, the hive departs, and there's a lasting silence. The port unfurls itself, welcoming me ashore. Little remains of the port now that the hive has departed. The crystal domes are cracked. The buildings beneath them lie in ruins. Survivors pick through the rubble for salvage, while a philosopher proclaims the nature of destruction and rebirth. The more practical poets glare daggers in the direction as they attempt to rebuild. The damage from the chorister hive doesn't appear to have dampened the mood. Write a port report. For it is such a beauty that... For Titania truly is one of the most beautiful ports that one could go to. It's a shame about the nearby chorister hive. What is Titania? A question with no easy answer. To the poets, a place of inspiration. To the stoneworkers, an untouched slab. To the playwrights, a blank page. A place of tranquility, of creation. And of your interviewee... Your interviewee pauses, suddenly looking worried. Do you hear buzzing? Apologies. Must get inside. Can't see or hear anything. However, you must assume it's just force of habit. Now the gunfire had quieted and the chorister hive had fled, the settler was now free to be dropped off, and your payment collected. They arrived at their destination. Whether or not they still wish to be here is another matter entirely. But unfortunately, despite the fact that things may have changed while I was in transit, I still must request payment from the passenger. A breeze wafts the sweet perfumes of wildflowers in my direction. Lovers race by in various states of undress. A giggling nudist capers after them. No one will look the settler in the eye. His scowl could shed a glass. We are late, he says. I only hope the people of this good settlement are less prone to tardiness than you. Here are your wages. I bid you good day. How's it going, PK? Welcome. Good to have you here. I gained 100 sovereigns, and thankfully got rid of the unfortunate settler. Excuse me? Recruit the rat brigade. Oh my god, those rats are in a tiny suit and overalls. Oh my god, I love it. Oi, down here! The three rats glower up at you. They're wearing tattered military uniforms and carry rusted derringers. They're polite enough to point them elsewhere. Invite them aboard the locomotives. Many hands make light work. You'll get a chief engineer who will increase my veils by 6 and my iron by 2. Ooh, okay. That'll be a chief engineer. What's my current one do? Nope. No. Explore. Explore. My current one increases my hearts by 2 and my iron by 6. So increase my veils by 6 and my iron by 2. Eee. Okay, but hear me out here. How can you say no to tiny rats as your chief engineers? You can't say no to that. You can't. Like, let's be honest, you can't. Oh, I can have two. The smallest, most scarred rat is called Cinders. She introduces her companions. This, she indicates to a rat wearing goggles, is my second, Petronella, a mechanic. She gestures toward the rat with glossy fur. And this is our agent provocateur, Albrecht. The rat inclines his head. We need a locomotive. These battle-hardened rats are all that remains of the Rat Regiment, a mercenary company active in the early days of the Winchester War. Used to be dozens of us. Best sappers around, says Cinders. Now look at us. Her whiskers twitch. Time for that later. We'll pay, Captain. All right, you've recruited the Rat Brigade. Apparently we can have two chief engineers. Fantastic. Apparently I got two chief engineers. I'm good with that. I am very good with that. All right. Let's take a look now at what we have in our journals. We still need to find a retiring filmmaker who resides to the southwest of New Winchester. And learn about the Rat Brigade, a troublesome bunch aboard my engine. Also must complete a special delivery from London. A courier asked me to complete their assignment. There's a delivery for Magdalene's waiting at the Albion Transit Relay. Oh my god. Phonetic research. Wings of a chorister bee. Ants, which I do have ants. I do have some ants. Yo, where are my ants? Where are my ants? Yo, where are my ants? I thought I had ants. Can I not see my ants? I don't know where my ants are. I'm just gonna hope I still have my ants. I need to turn in those ants. Collected. Oh, you have collected ants for the phlegmatic researcher. And then I research, of course, you bring Hybris pus. We need to get to Hybris. Return 15 days to see the results. I guess we'll have to kind of hope we can get there in time. I still have yet to find London. And then we still have to return some of those. So we'll be making our way back to we need to get to Hybris still as well, which is somewhere over there. So we'll hit up the Leadbeater and Stanford Stainrod's Nature Reserve. Maybe we can find a passage through here. We'll be able to get to the hives where we can possibly fight some chorister bees and hopefully receive some wings. Hybris pus is another matter altogether. And unfortunately, it's unlikely I'll be able to get much from that. So it is on the 15th of May, 1905, that I set my ways for the nature reserve. Last time I was there, I barely escaped I barely escaped. Would I be so lucky this time? That is a story that I guess shall be told in due time. I don't have a lot of supplies though. Bloombower, nice. I only have a few more days to complete the Leadbeater to beat that quest, so I might as well try to get that done now. Reach Marauders. No, you don't. Tease it. And bring us around town for a smackdown. Boom, baby. Easy memes. 16th of May, 1905. We were attacked by a Reach Marauder. Hardly a problem, though. They weren't even able to scratch our paint. As we approached the buckled wreckage poised to plunder the plunderers, behind me, someone is humming a song of victory as I loot the hold. All I could find of value was a clasped jewelry box, in which something precious had been concealed. Only 30 sovereigns. A still fine a find, though hardly anything worth a song. I barely raised a glass in toast of our victory as we continued on our way to the nature reserve. Ah, the nature reserve. Abundant with life. Most of it deadly and seeking nothing but my death and destruction. Not even for food or not even for food or for shelter. Merely just because it could. That is the downside to nature in the Reach. The nature of nature in the Reach is nothing but death and carnage. Also, sorry if nothing that I say makes sense. I am kind of making up this story as I go along. So if nothing makes sense, I will apologize ahead of time. Sparks, 17th of May, 1905. As we approached the nature reserve, sparks seemed to go past us. Were they sparks of fire? Maybe they were spores. Pollen carried by the chorister bees. It was unknown as we made dock at the nature reserve. And as we arrived at Leadbeater and Stainrod's, an elderly London company, custodians of the Empire's first supernal nature reserve, to find work with them, head for Capabilities Cabins, or, if I'd rather enjoy the reserve, I could seek the gateway of Albert's Idol. But today was an interesting day at the LNS loading bay, for there was a hunting party that was preparing. An opportunistic ranger smiled a most toothless grin, shows off as many scars from the beasts of the nature reserve. Not wanting to pass up such an opportunity, I joined the hunting party. The opportunistic ranger smiled a most toothless grin.
All's fair in love and war.
I joined the hunting party. What threats can a few unruly animals be to an armed group of the sky's finest? Ooh! Looking at the party, however, I became less and less sure of myself. Seeing not roughnecks, but old men with broken down guns. Many seeming to be more of a danger to the user than the person or creature at the other end. I joined anyway, just hoping against hope that I would survive. We headed into the reserve, ready to stalk our prey, only to find it ready and waiting for me. A desperate chase later, and I find myself hiding behind a bush as something sniffs the air, thankfully losing my trail and heading back to its den. Once I made my way back to the concrete bay for loading and unloading locomotives, once I made my way back to the loading bay. It disappoints tourists who expect to arrive at a scenic waterside. It mainly caters to the workers of the Leadbeater and Stainrod Company, who come to collect goods from the laboratories here, cable cars linked to the main reserve below, and the scientific base at Capabilities Inquest. I spend my time trying to gather my thoughts and write a port report on what I had found. The Leadbeater and Stainrod Nature Reserve is a national park, maintained at great expense by the company. Scores of researchers come here to study the nature of the Reach. Many visitors come here too for a pleasant holiday. Now, once all is said and done, I make my way to the bazaar, hoping to purchase and sell some of my goods. Hardly any were interested in what I had to offer. But fuel and supplies were cheap here. Never mind, they were not cheap. Never mind, they were not cheap. I thought that I was purchasing it at a steal, but no. That was the price that they would buy it from me. Knowing a ripoff when I see it, but unfortunately unable to say no, for my supplies were beginning to dwindle, I disappointedly agreed and bought 2 barrels of fuel and 3 boxes of supplies, and proceeded to search for the researcher that and proceed to search for the researcher who I needed to deliver my ants to. The researchers of the reserve have a number of laboratories scattered among the tourist cabins. Here they study the mysteries of the Reach. I proceed to the researcher and turn in what I had found. You're fulfilling the phlegmatic researcher's request. After all the trouble they caused with your supplies, the researcher better be pleased. I hand in the answer in the homestead. You are thanked for your efforts and asked to wait while the company sorts out your rewards. It might be a couple days. The phlegmatic researcher invites you over for tea.
Marvelous creatures,
he says, passing you an envelope of sovereigns from the company.
As far as I can discern, they only seem to mind when a human is about to die. I wonder what this is. I wonder what this is about us.
Gain 300 sovereigns. Finally, I could see my stores beginning to swell with sovereigns. Perhaps I store them for a future occasion, for a rainy day, or for my retirement. Or it might be prudent to reinvest these in getting a new locomotive. I could already feel the strain of my current one. It had small stores, not a lot of space, and it wasn't exactly particularly speedy or maneuverable. Instead, I proceed then to head back to the base of research and prepare to leave. The researcher has disappeared into his laboratory. In 15 more days, I could return to see the results of the researcher's work. However, that would not be today. Not wanting to stay another second in this godforsaken place. Hookers and blow? Basically, that's all I want for my reward. And on the 17th of May, only a few hours later, I departed, making my way back to New Winchester, and then to Port Prosper. Scavenging along the way, I do locate some fine pottery. Planning to make a quick buck once I get back to New Winchester, I continued on. 15 days from now is in fact not today. Indeed. That is knowledge from SomaWolf. Very important knowledge indeed. 15 days from today is not today. I hope y'all are taking notes. There will be a test at the end. Courser bees. The lush verdance encloses on me, green as emeralds. As the drone of the courser bees gather around me, they seem to think me as unimportant and not worth their time. Grateful for this, I continue on, not wishing to disturb them. I had seen what they can do to a properly armed locomotive, and I could guarantee you I was not prepared for such a fight. As I exit through Williams Weld, another group of courser bees closes in on me, but decides against the fight and continues along. I had survived this time. Next time, most likely I would not be nearly as fortunate. Though hopefully, once it became that time, I would actually be properly prepared to take them on. For there are those who would pay handsomely for the supplies of a courser bee. Discontent grows amongst my crew, though. A junior signaler receives a dose of medicinal port in the infirmary after seeing a frozen corpse spin past a window. The experience has shaken him. The dead, hungry, to make an offering, or come back and knock in at the hull! It didn't take long for the Skyfarers to shed their ridiculous old nautical superstitions and replace them with the ridiculous new ones. Still, better to keep the crew happy. We had made do with plenty. So, given the situation, we had a few options. We could jettison supplies, wishing to make the crew happy, but possibly injuring us in the long run. I could reprimand him, telling him his stuff is nonsense, though it would hardly assist him in his current situation. We could double back for the corpse and loot it. The search would cost fuel, but might prove profitable, perhaps as a pocket watch, or silver brooch, or other valuables. Though this is risky. After all, it would cost us nearly a full barrel of fuel. Maybe 2, in fact, to get us back to where we were at. Or we could recover the body and transport it for a burial. A corpse makes for poor company, but it is what you'd want to happen if you were found in the sky. I could only imagine the nightmares we would have after it. Not wishing to burn precious fuel, and knowing I had a cannery waiting for me back in New Winchester, I decided to jettison some supplies. A small price to pay for lowering the terror on the ship, and for keeping my crew at peace. The rations spin away into the stellar mists. You'll mourn the biscuits. Some of them even had chocolate on them. Whether it will be worth it or not, we will never know. All we know is that for today, we continue on in a mildly better state than we could have. On the 19th of May, 1905, we approached another wreck, a detritus of yet another skirmish in the Winchester War. Emblazoned on it was the insignia of the Winchester's wake. Though, we noticed an issue. We are not where we thought we were. The sky is wrong. It is not where we're meant to be. Was this a trick of the mist? Had the wind carried us astray? Have the heavens themselves turned on their axis? We had only 2 options available to us. To double back and painstakingly retrace our path, though this would burn precious fuel. Or press on. Push forward into stranger skies in the hopes that somewhere beyond we'll find familiar territories again. Chance of success was minimal at best. Deciding to double back, we knew would be best, for we did not believe we could. Because looking at our situation, we did not believe we would be able to properly press on and survive survive. It cost us 2 barrels of fuel, and the terror increased in our crew, seeing our resources now at half of what they were. But we pick our way back across the sky while the hours tick by and our crew grow fretful. Eventually, the chart in my surroundings align again, and we continue our weary journey. If nothing else, we now have a story to tell for when we make port back, and we find our way back at the Kingston's Cake. A wreck, gleaming with frost and the windows dark, its engine silent. Mayhaps we find something of value, or we could just mourn the dead. Seeing the situation that my crew was in, I believe it'd be best for us to mourn the crew and not risk any further injury to us. We mourn the dead, burying them in the sky just as would happen to us should the same thing befell us. A simple ceremony, dotted caps, a few words, and a gloomy silence. But it helps. The only decency in the skies is that which we bring ourselves. Though it was not saved, as then a cold wreck sustaining nothing that could be considered life proceeded to attack us. Making our way, we hope to escape it. A growing unease, patience erodes and tempers fray as we are chased by some unimaginable curiosity of the sky. We made our escape. Running south of Port Titania, and seeing more bronzewood that could have been hewed had we the resources and supplies for which to do so. We make careful note, knowing we could come back at another time for it. The rapid grade's nose twitch on the 23rd of May, 1905. Was it with greed? The homestead is an easy target for food, after all. We made port. The settlers who lived far beyond the edge of civilization relished the hardships of solitude. They fiercely defend their small territories, but occasionally welcome company and trade. The homestead appears to be thriving. A family gathers outside to welcome us. Blue smoke coils from the chimney. They offered us a meal, or we could spin them a yarn of our adventures. New customs spring up quickly in the high wilderness. One of the most widely observed insists that a good story must be repaid with gifts. Knowing that I had plenty to give, we could have received some supplies for our journey. But the ragged steam trails and marauders have scarred the skies as of late. And we knew that we had some munitions, and they had bronzewood. Something that is often sought for high prices. We could trade on the munitions as well. Knowing we could only had time for one, we had to make a decision. We decided to spin them a yarn of our adventures. For munitions could too be sold, and, if we're lucky, used for other, maybe less scrupulous adventures. Your host is eager to hear of our adventures in the sky, but before we leave, they press a heavy bundle into our arms. Increasing our supplies for the road, we make due haste. Though we notice some marauders of the Reach, wishing to prey on this peaceful homestead. Not wanting to do our host wrong, we decide that it is in our best interest to take care of them. They were good hosts who gave us supplies to continue us on our journey. It only seemed right that we take out these marauders. Bullets and shrapnel flew as we dueled in the skies. Not wishing to sink ourselves, we had to take much evasive action. The Rat Brigade's notes twitched with greed. But we told them that we would not be raiding them for food. They were good people who only did well by us. We managed to sink the Reach Marauder and plunder its loot. As we approached the buckled wreckage, poised to plunder the plunderers, someone behind me sung a song of victory. We decided to explore the captain's cabin. Marauders are rarely democratic, captains ruling by strength and claims the best for their own keep. The captain's door did not survive the onset of our guns, nor did the captain. I have to tread carefully, for the carpet will not be saved. Unfortunate, for it could have scored us a few sovereigns as well. A few scorched documents sit on the bronzewood desk. They make for an interesting reading. Apparently London had need of a few brave captains willing to bring fire to the Tacites. We would not have been expecting the signatories of the orders. We had some gossip to trade once we made port back in New Winchester. Not but a few days away, we decided to continue on. These are just seeds of exploration in slow-mo. Not wrong, I guess. Fighting is all that you can hear in the Reach these days. As the Tacites and stovepipes continue, their gunfire decides to cloud the skies with smoke. Mist and smoke are now all that you could see these days. Not knowing which is which, you press on. My stores of fuel were beginning to dwindle, so I had to make my way. Unfortunately, in my path would not be peaceful, for another star-maddened explorer decided to get in my way, as we saw the wreckage of the Gertrude. Knowing that they were the cause of this death, we decided to continue. Yes, I do, Kira! That's all I know what to do is narrate. This is a Tales series. This is Tales from the Black Box of Captain SomaWolf, who I decided to leave a bunch of pre-recorded messages in my cabin for those who would find me upon my death. Jesus Christ. You need a damn editor. I do. I freaking do. Are you volunteering? Again, they're pre-recorded messages. It's like carrying around a tape recorder and just recording your every little thought you have and leaving it for some random person to find and play. Starman Explorer was defeated. Are you trying to curse whoever finds them by boring them to death? Of course! Salute the hold to gain some treasures. Stamped and carefully sealed. It's as heavy as a dead man's weight. Many would question why I knew exactly how much a dead man weighs. That is the correct way to write stories, yes. And more munitions. More boom booms. More explosives for more ill-gotten adventures. Another wreck. Probably that of the Star Madden Explorer. Would have been us had we not taken care of them. Continuing on, we decide to enter through the yawning tear in the hull. The damage is so extensive that the whole chassis is on the verge of collapse, and I have to tread lightly. My boarding party follows me gingerly through the rent in the wreck's side. The steel bones of the engine room groan miserably. You'll need to hurry. Lifting your lamp, you lead the party forward. I head to the engine room, knowing fuel is a precious resource these days. Though it seems that my adventures were for naught, as another Reach Marauder decided to be an asshole and was waiting for me to approach. Also, Kira, who do you want to be my editors? The Rat Brigade? Or the dude who looks like a twat? Oh, that was close. Do you think the Rat Brigade would be my editors? The Marauder is defeated. I suppose it would be absolutely remiss of me not to take advantage of it. Oh. Oh. Oh, I love it. Why am I in caps lock? But I love it. Yes, the Rat Brigade are going to be my editors. Well, in that case, let's see what they think. The Rat Brigade has made a mess of my galley. Straw, bits of blanket, and patches from damaged uniforms have been gathered into a makeshift nest. In contrast, tiny notebooks, battered derringers, and hip flasks, they're not as small as you might expect, are stored with care, stacked in a corner away from prying eyes. Better than the blood battlefront. God, don't even remind me of that. Let's spend some time with the Rat Brigade. They can make it right if they're in the mood. The Rat Brigade are playing cards. Cinders is cheating, by means of mirrors concealed in the sleeves of her uniform, a spring-loaded trap, and a brazen card counting. Albrecht and Petronella have devised a surreptitious drinking game around each new display of bad sportsmanship. If I had $1 for every time someone called me unattractive, someone would eventually find me attractive. Alright, you didn't need to do me that dirty, Katya. That is what I call a drinking game. In a game of cheating, you devise a drinking game around bad sportsmanship. That's what I'm talking about. You're in that mood today to do me dirty? I see how it is. I feel that, though. I always feel that. But then again, I don't think I can really comment considering I'm the dude in the wolf onesie. Morale is strained and someone has been careless. One of the barrels in your hold wasn't securely fastened, and it is split, spilling the precious hours across the floor. Or the hours' insistent melancholy has begun to permeate the engine, and your clocks are becoming erratic. Order the crew to collect every single hour. It will expose them to stray solemn hours, unspooling in the hold, but waste not, want not. Some of the geodes are cracked. The safest thing is to dispose of them quickly, and don't miss any that spilled out. I'd rather throw them out, then. It is not the date that it was. But we are in a better way. Clamor of New Winchester can be heard in the wind, familiar as a disagreeable uncle. Joshua Red and Blue led shoes to signal a chase on foot. Hell yes! Dude, give him like the Skechers light-ups. Hell yeah. Oh my god, my terror is really high. I'm gonna need to clear that. I'm gonna need to clear my terror. Thankfully, we've almost made it to New Winchester, and we have quite a few port reports to turn in. We should at least. Yep. Oh, we have 4 port reports? Dude, that's cash money. That is cash money. And those shoes need to be bright as well. So like you could see it no matter what time of day. I'm skirting past New Winchester though. I'm eager to make landfall at Victory Hall so that I may turn in the spoils of my adventures. And my port reports so that I might be able to afford not only some new crew, but of course, a new engine as well. Though honestly, I may not even be able to do that. Ooh, that was bad. That was bad. Alright, dock at Victory Hall. Just dock at Victory Hall. The Assembly, a coalition of independent-minded settlers, colloquially called Tackities, gather and argue here. Deliver port reports here to receive rewards. Hell yeah. Deliver the port reports to the Indurate Veteran. 400 sovereigns for Fortune's Tackety, and the Tackity's gratitude as well. That is what I'm talking about. She listens with a scowl. I'd rather know than not, I suppose. And thank you for bringing this to me, rather than the bloody stovepipes. Well, the range of gratuity. I can't figure out what I want to do for her voice. I really can't. I can't get a good voice for her. On your breath to prevent hiccups is like turning your lungs on and off again. It really is. I mean, it's what you gotta do sometimes. Sadly, can't trade for some to affect the balance of power. I don't have any contraband, so we're gonna ignore that for now. What qualifies as contraband? I don't think I've even seen contraband. I don't even think I've seen contraband, really. But then again, I guess we will be headed back down to Port Prosper by way of Magdalene's, most likely, again. Gathering port reports so that we can continue gaining some money. Though, we do need to make for Hybris. Alright. A note from Mr. Menagerie. Poster at the station has been torn down, and there's no sign of Mr. Menagerie itself. Cowled figures lurk in the fog, but none have a collection of adorable little beasts. Station master waves you over.
Mr. Menagerie's left a note for you.
Read the note. Should tell you where he was headed. Somewhere old, somewhere new. We go to the Regent's obelisk, which you have made into a gaudy amusement. I don't know what that means. My mind goes to the circus. That is where I would believe that it would be for, but I have no idea. All right then. Let's head to Victoria Market and get to selling. Oh, baby. That's cash money. Oh my god, that is beautiful. Oh, we still can't afford the trader, though, which is unfortunate. But electric toothbrushes are one of the few things that are still functioning after they break. I know, right? Feel considerate of them. I could save up for a Bedivere class escort. Only recently emerging from the Steam and Sapphire engine yards, the Belvedere is a sturdy, flexible engine favored by explorers, which gives me 2 extra things for shields and an extra gun slot. A lot more health, but worse fuel economy. Oh. But 2 auxiliary slots. Honestly, the Pelennor class trader might be worth it. Having 2 auxiliary slots would be so good. Like, that would be so unbelievably good to have. Still munitions again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on. I'm going to keep what I have here. And instead, let's just buy some more fuel. A lot more fuel and a few more supplies. I plan to take one hell of an adventure, especially... Oh, one more of these. This will be up in just a second. I wish I could store my money. I really wish I could store my money, but unfortunately, you can't. Learn how your PC feels when you look for a new PC. I know, right? I swear, it just looks at you like, alright, rude. But what else might I be able to find here? I could get the pneumatic mining array. Bronzewood shielding, though. It would send me back a little bit, but I would have some good protection now. 10 armor. 10 armor could be really good. Oh my god, 10 armor could be really good as well. What's the Brass Raven? That one seems to do 4 damage per shot. Range only 650. What's my range on this thing? 750. So it's barely any less range. Let the clouds pour down righteousness. A rapid-firing weapon, popular with captains who value volume over precision. Careful not to let it overheat. Once the thing's up to speed, you could fry eggs on it. Yeesh. I'm gonna go with survivability and get the shielding. Because once I'm done with what I have, I could easily just give myself some. I could just convert these over, and we'd be pretty good. Ooh. Sneeze Lurker. The secret of success in life is to be ready for an opportunity when it comes. The Bedeviled Pursuit. Oh! Oh, this is a... Yo, that's landmines. Those are landmines. Woo! That sounds like fun. Sounds like fun indeed. Alright, that would take it up the captain slot there. I think we're good. Okay, in that case, let's just hit up the station, repair a locomotive, and get underway. 39 sovereigns. Let's do it. And our critical damage quality is gone. Baby, that's looking good. Oh my god. So yeah, we spent a lot of money, but we are now looking much better. I don't want to buy a new gun yet. I feel like it's not going to be too worth it to me. Because yeah, again, I couldn't even do that. If I wanted to, I could buy another... Well. Could just do that as well. Let's do that as well. Nice. Now I have 2 cannons. Unfortunately, my heat will increase a lot faster, but I can do some more DPS. So honestly, I think that's worth it. It was on the 29th of May, 1905. You will both... Your funeral is one thing you'll both attend and miss. Oh my god. Not wrong. You ain't wrong. 30th of May, 1905. I finally left New Winchester. The smell of smog and the taste of iron finally leaving as I made my way down to Port Prosper. I had a couple things to turn in there, as well as a search for some contraband that would net me probably a hefty price back at Magdalen's. Magdalen's, after all, does pay handsomely for a lot of good loot like that. I really probably should be sending out my cold and flinty part of the sky. Miners dug too deeply here. The Rat Brigade's noses twitch with greed. The homestead is an easy target for food. And company as well. Settlers who live far beyond the edge. Civilization you settled down beside a pockmarked homestead with a holey roof and cracked windows. Its inhabitants have struggled through a bad year, and will find the next one worse. Trade supplies for bronzewood. If you notice one thing in 10 minutes, telephone poles are just trees that clean up and get a job. Beautiful. I mean, we have plenty of supplies, and we're making for Port Prosper, where I could also sell the bronzewood. That's going to be worth it. That's worth it. There's one room you enter but never leave, and there's one you leave but never enter. What are they? Depression? A cryptic stoker wants to hold a memorial service for the crew that have recently died in your service. Judging by his tattoos of a storm studded with mouths, his rattling collection of talismans, the ceremony is likely to be Christian. Is unlikely to be Christian. Improve and attend. You find the place at the back of the room and remove your hat. However, it seems I failed at that one. The cryptic stoker appears to before the gathered mourners with a face painted storm gray and his amulets rattling like a distant thunder. He speaks of a storm that remembers, his voice reeling between a croaking approximation of an old woman's voice, a shrill mockery of a child's, and a drawling attempt at high society patriarch. The crew seems unconvinced by the outlandish ceremony. Perhaps they long for sober, plodding Sunday services of their youth.
Minor mistake!
I don't know, Kira. Anyone else have any guesses for Kira's little thing there? Any guesses? I mean, we're making our way down. We might as well, once again, take a little trip down, say what up to the statue of the rat. And send out our bat. Magus hasn't gotten any exercise in a while. Scout returns. It has found something. Memorial to the unknown rat. My crew removes their hats as we pass by. Continuing along, our terror now mildly diminished after stopping by the great one. Insert metaphorical phrase here. Essentially. Dude, I love the rat statue. It's even better considering we have the Rat Brigade. They're legends. I need a savage secret, though. Damn. Where can I find a savage secret? I would like to find a savage secret, please. Ooh. The Zesty. Ooh. The wreck gleams with frost. Its windows are dark and its engine silent. Perhaps something of value lies within. As my boarding party follows me gingerly through the rent in the wreck's side, the steel bones of the engine room groan miserably. I'll need to hurry. Lifting my lamp, I lead my party toward the captain's quarters. Captains often keep their most unusual discoveries to themselves, after all. My party efficiently and thoroughly turns the cabin over, throwing everything of use into frost-cracked bedsheet to be examined in better circumstances. I then hurried back to my locomotive in time to watch the wreck crack and split, and spilling its remaining secrets into the sky. Ah, shit. Tease it? Joy, more horrors of the skies to come greet me. I suppose it's not something I should be too surprised by, considering the sights we had just witnessed aboard that ship. But it is still unfortunate, as I don't think I've ever successfully killed one of these things. I suppose there's no time like the present, however. Ah, damn. Damn. Ugh. It's always such horrors that will meet us out in the Z's, out in the skies. Damn. Will you hold still so I can tag you? Damn. Yee. Oh, this is not looking good. This is not looking good. Oh god, what's here? I might be wrong, but you haven't made your mascot and first officer active. What? What do you mean? What do you haven't made your mascot and first officer active. Small circle under the picture. How do I make them active? How do I make them active? Sorry, I'm very new at this game, by the way, if you haven't been able to tell by how poorly I'm fighting this thing. So what do you mean, Guilty. I'm running. I'm gonna try to run. I don't fancy my chances right now. I'm running. Shit! A rupture. With a groan like a dying whale, your locomotive's hull buckled. Your hull has fallen to zero. Your captain is dead. That asshole! This is why I sided with the Tackities. I know there's an icon showing where they are. A casket, I believe. Endgame. The man should reclaim the Orphine. Spatchcock reclaimed locomotive. Though most of the fixtures were reclaimed, the Jerusalem was unfortunately lost. F. A coffin and a womb. Ah! The bank after the funeral expenses passed on what was left from the estate. Though possibly an accurate copy of your predecessor's chart was discovered. When all is done, you'll be a wiser person than the previous captain started off with. Oh, that's a shame! Alright. I'm going to start once again as a Zailer. And I smuggled. Search for wealth. That was the last known... that was the last known adventure of Captain Soma. Alright, give me that. Let's see, let's go with this hair. I like this hair. And annoyed again, of course. The hospital, oof. Let's give ourselves a fucking schnoz. There we go. And where's the chin? Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Professor Edwards, I don't like that one as much. Sir Malloy? Oh, I'll go Sir Malloy. I'll go Sir Malloy. Yeesh. That's a shame, though. That is a mega shame. Damn. All right. We're going high iron and high veils for this one. So I want to make sure I'm increasing my iron and veils when I can. Here we go. You were a disgraced predecessor. An earlier captain in your lineage is the subject of ridicule and rebuke. That's very fair. He made a lot of dumb decisions. The villains! Since you're already condemned, you decided that you might as well do something unquestionably worth condemning. And we traveled about the smudgy streets. You spent much of your youth in the hard end of London, where the gas lamps are scarce, the prospects are bleak, and the people as filthy as the cobbles. How'd you like it? You were at home. The smog painted your lungs black. Your knuckles were scarred, but it was honest. There were diamonds in the dirt. I might as well increase my mirrors as well, as mirrors is really good to increase. Let's go with a mentor. For some time you enjoyed the favor and protection of a mentor. Someone who saw your potential and decided to nurture it. Who took you under their wing. A blind bruiser. His attempts to distance himself from his Lucernus past were of mixed success. His guests were scarred and rough-spoken, and told bloody tales of smuggling and thief oaths and nameless murderers. Alright, that's a decent start. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay, let's take a look at how we're at. Okay. We lost one gun, but we still have the bronzewood shielding and the additional cargo bay. Some gas, but we don't have any more of our quests, which is a shame. At the bank, we still have the cannery as well. Spatchcock is not at full health, but we can deal with that. We definitely deal with that. What do we have in our possessions as well? What do we have in our possessions? Nothing but a bit of a tale of terror, a black box, and about 10 people aboard our train. Might as well hit up Victoria Market and get a little bit of exploring going. Instead of the cargo hold, I believe I am going to go with my cannery Because right now, I'm going to be doing an exploration for Magdalene's, for Port Prosper, and then I don't have it. Well, I might be able to find an opportunity as well if I explore the city. Learning about trading. Oh, yeah, I should probably check the bazaar as well. Visit the Promise of Days. Yep. Or respond to a distress call. There we go. Retrieving the filmmaker. That's also what we want. So, at the bazaar, seats for Magdalene's. Yes, please. The baby son for Teletubbies is everything between 20 and 25. Makes me feel old. I know, right? Only slightly younger than me. I hate that. The Devils of Carillion are experimenting with a new penance involving close harmony singing. They request up to 5 gourds of cloister nectar, which is considered a vocal panacea by opera singers and actors. Carillion lies to the west of New Winchester. We'll be heading south of New Winchester, so we might as well claim that one as well. And I know of a place where I can get seeds relatively cheap. We have plenty of fuel and supplies, so without further ado, let's make for Magdalene's and Port Prosper. We might be able to pick up another quest from Magdalene's if we do that. And including the what was it? Including the quest to get the contraband that we needed. We might be able to get that as well. So that is. Wait, am I dumb? I have no officers. I'm dumb. I have no officers. When we pay rappers to brag about money, we the one of my reasons. It's just not my cup of tea, personally. Though there are some, like, I like some, what's it called? Hollywood Undead, but mostly because they are straight meme lords. Like, they're in it for the memes, and I'm here for it. Allow the driver to join my crew. All right. Chief Engineer. You gamble with the incautious driver. Let's do it. Run an illicit poker game in the hold. You enter the hold and find the game well underway. The driver sits cross-legged in front of a pile of freshly won sovereigns and 3 newly impoverished members of the crew. Stoker angrily throws an expensive-looking watch into one of the winnings and departs in a fury. The driver looks up.
Sir, time to make a wager.
The driver deals the cards between the players. The cook and the crewman, whose name you can't place at the moment, watch each other, barely distinguish suspicion. Behind you, a small crowd gathers to see the captain's coin. You place a bet and prepare to pay. Yep. You throw your cards down, not expecting to win. You're not disappointed. The driver barely even looks at their cards before going all in, claiming the pot with nothing more than a pair of aces. The other players glare sullenly, regretting their hesitation.
I hear you
used to be a test driver, says the quartermaster. The driver nods.
Never thought it. As a child, I loved my trains. Very ordered. A safe little space where they could go round and round. Nothing could go wrong. It was only after the crash that I realized I needed more. I suppose surviving that taught me that there was more to living than simply being alive. Another round.
The driver deals the cards between the players. The cook and the crewman, whose name you can't place at the moment, watch each other with barely disguised suspicion. Behind you, a small crowd gathers to see the captain's coin. That's enough of that for me. The remaining crew around the circle relax as you stand to leave. The driver shuffles the cards, ready to begin the next round. Let the games continue. The crew needs a break, and it's harmless enough. If they don't want to lose their money, that's up to them. The driver nods to you idly, scratching an ear. Just for a moment, you spot something green winding around their finger. The driver has no tolerance for uneventful voyages. While not on duty, they stare through the stained glass windows as if willing excitement to ride on the wave of disaster. When they take the wheel, the rest of the crew grip the nearest available supports and whisper quiet prayers to various gods. Recently, they've been roaming the corridors of your engine, whistling and getting in the way. Is there something they want? Driver blinks.
Can't keep anything from you, I see. I've been feeling a bit on edge. Would you like to make it myself useful, if I can? The race is at the Royal Society. Well, we could go there. You could drop me off for a bit, and I could make us a bit of money, eh?
They take a coin and flip it through the air, and it comes down heads.
Just a thought, anyway.
The driver will join the Rochester Club and to take part in races and generate winnings for you while on secondment. Converse with the incautious driver.
What? Oh, yes.
The driver scratches again.
It's nothing, just a little earache. It comes and goes.
He trembles with frustration of being pulled away from the wheel, even for a short conversation.
See, all fine now.
Recommend visiting a doctor. The health of the crew is paramount.
Not necessary.
The driver protests, scratching their ear with a renewed force. A look of pain flashes over their face for a moment.
Perhaps my family knows of a specialist in New Winchester. I think Father owns the building. I think I can call in a favor.
And learning more about the incautious driver. Well, I suppose while we're in New Winchester, while we're here, I can see if I could get that the incautious driver to take a little break there. Knowing my luck, it'll cost me a bit of coin, but we might be able to still get something from it. We have a full complement of crew. Escort the incautious driver to their family doctor. Silver plaque on the door bearing the name indicates that this is the address of New Winchester's most exclusive practice. While the doctor conducts her examination, the driver asks you to update their old records with the current employment. You take a moment's pleasure in the driver's ridiculous middle name and pass over the field on gender, straightforwardly crossed out. Their address was last an eyebrow-raisingly prestigious New Winchester townhouse. You mended to the name of your locomotive.
Ah,
the doctor says, peering into the driver's ear.
A case of verdancy. A fungal colonization of the brain. Common in the Reach. Noticed uncharacteristic impulses. Changes in behavior.
She eyes the driver's skysuit and scars. The driver nods.
Yes. Yes, the spores are deeply...
Yes, the spores are deeply rooted in the brain. Attempts to extract them have had less than satisfactory results. I'm afraid the best prescription is to entertain them. Take them where they want to go. See the things they want to see. Typically, a little travel does the job. Soon, they'll lose their interest.
You've gained 1,000 experience from that. Jesus. And learn more about the incautious driver. Drover? Let's converse with them again. The incautious driver paces back and forth, clicking their tongue.
Must have been the crash in the nature reserve. My father sent me there to take up a nice, quiet job.
I always did love botany, but when they pulled me from the wreckage, I had new dreams to follow.
I thought they were mine. Now, how can I be sure?
A new resolve washes over their face, and they turn back, eyes sharp and sparkling with a flickered emerald.
Either way, I know where I have to go. Old Tom's well. Give him the wheel, Captain. I have an appointment to keep.
The well lies east of New Winchester. I suppose that's where we're going next. One way to understand someone's mood without paying attention is just look at how fast they walk up stairs. Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose we're continuing on the on whatever's going on with the incautious driver. What's my captain's name again? Malloy, Sir Malloy. After all, I'm interested to see where this is gonna go. An interesting story is one of those things that does keep you sane out in the Reach. It would be positively remiss of us not to engage in a little bit of exploration and whatnot. Alright, moving on. We have to find this well. I have some supplies, but not a lot to be spamming my bat, which is unfortunate. So unfortunately, we're going to have to kind of just do a bit of a hope that we can find something on the very few uses we're going to get out of it. Though it seems the scout has found something interesting. Scout returns. What has it found? You know what? I'm just gonna be glad that it's not bickering with me again. Magus can be one hell of a butt. Like, Magus is an absolute butt. So well done, Magus. You found me some stuff. You and your friend, one of you want to attend the other's funeral? Oof. That's just dark. That's just dark and sad. Not wrong, though. It ain't wrong, though. Alright, alright, alright. Well, this is unfortunate. Seems we found more of the snowy areas. More of the cold of the Reach, which I'm not looking forward to. But, if I remember correctly, I do have a cannery, so we won't completely hurt for supplies here, at least. The Frostlands are rarely ever a beneficial place to go to, but this is where the well lies, so it's where I have to go. And look at that. Already, reluctantly, your back confesses to have found something. Alright, let's ignore the Kentucky there. And we're gonna move on, unfortunately. Well, probably fortunately, honestly. I don't exactly fancy... Unless it's on the same yard. Technically, you kind of did. Fort's Oath. And we're almost there. Hopefully it's not a horror. Knowing my luck, that's what it's gonna be, though. Hey, it's not! Fantastic! Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And we got a pot! We got some pot! That sells for a hefty price. I'm down for that. I am definitely down for that. Okay. Yeesh. I'm gonna have to start taking out some Kentuckeries, though, if I want to be able to keep using my bat. I forgot that you're cold. The other cup is hot liquid. I want more hot liquid. The cautious driver grimaces. Mother said illness is on the mind. You'd fit right in here. Where are we? Carillion. A new port. The crew are relieved to see land, perhaps unwisely. I've never been to Carillion. I don't know what to expect here. This peaceful, Carmine institution was founded by devils from London and dedicated to the betterment of the soul. Fotheridge's A Tour of Heaven describes it as a cross between a spa and sanatorium and purgatory. She commands in bracing airs. When your eyes crispy and crunchy means the same thing. Just one is thin, the other is not. So how does that so how does that describe people then? I mean, I suppose. Oh. Supply 5 gourds of oyster nectar, and they'll give me 200. Is that 240 per? And they're selling sacks of verdant seeds. Yes, please. Yes, please. Unfortunately, I can't sell the pot that I had here, which is a shame. Well, so instead, I guess we'll head to the center in IDK. Never tried people. Oh, you're missing out, I'm pretty sure. Alright, let's head into the foyer. Maybe we'll be able to write a quick port report and then see what else we can do here. You take some notes on the pilgrim's journey through Carillion. The first port of call is the beehive-shaped office in the center. Or more accurately, the long queue leading to it. From there, the infernal attendants direct them to one of Carillion's 7 gardens to undergo penances. They certainly look penitent by the time they emerge. Presumably their souls are much improved. Not that you can tell. Gray stone, the color of a monastery. Attending devils and devilisses dressed in uniform. An incoming parade of the sick, the friendless, and the dying. And those who think their lives would be better if only they were something else. This is Carillion, where souls are reformed into something more impressive. Go and speak to the presiding devils. Led between wickerworks. Presiding deviless works in the office shaped like a beehive. A stone and wickerwork building that stands all alone among the middle of Carillion's central courtyard. She conducts intake interviews with new patients, one by one. After a long time in line, you reach her at last.
Greetings, sir. How may we stretch, strain, purify, and strengthen you now that you've come to Carillion?
Oh, she's interesting. Her apron is starched, her dress pinstriped, and there's a stack of patient files on her desk. Color-coded. Corners of her mouth saying she knows something to your disadvantage. Her other patients waiting to see the Devil S return to the center ask about Carillion. She must be used to explaining to newcomers and those whose memories are attenuated by pain. We do whatever is necessary to reclaim unsatisfactory souls, she says. She sits back in her chair, and you can imagine her making just such a pitch to the princes of hell. The humans, primarily, though we do attend to a few other creatures elsewhere on the Great Chain. They come to us with souls that are stained, disused in every kind of sorted condition, and we make them acceptable again. Most of those who come to us are volunteers. The rest are beyond the position of being able to volunteer, consigned to Carillion by their friends, families, or employers. And after a stay at Carillion, what then? If one should not enter, one does not know how to leave. I think for now we'll return to the center. We still have to find the well. Come back if you have any other questions, says the Devil S. She's already opened the next file on her desk. You've not accepted the Abstemious' Devil's Commission, and I need Affiliation Establishment 5. What's it called bite down, son, when it's the bottom of your teeth that bites up? That is the question. Try to explore Carillion. Others seem to be coming and going as they please. Gentle denial. Before you can take the first step toward one of the terraces, a devil blocks your way. Not yet, I'm afraid. You must have permission from the presiding Devil S. Some of our procedures are exceedingly delicate. Need to be sure that you can comprehend what you're seeing. Pete Delirium, his eyes again, finally unlock the Polaroid. I don't think that's how you unlock the Polaroid, Kira. He turns in your direction of the center of Carillion. I'm sure she'll make time to see you. Suppose there's one way to find out what we're going to find here. And after one should stay at Carillion, what then? Most people go home, she says. Some find that they are weary of their souls and pass them on to us. We operate on that slender profit and on what we can get from donations or from sales of penance and forgiveness. He looks at the blank pages before her. But what about you? You look sturdy enough to make full use of our services. Are you afraid of needles? What is your view of worms? What do you fear more, venoms or poisons? She takes down a page or two on all your least favorite things. And about time on the same run. Doesn't really matter if Defeating Delirium unlocks Polaroid. Oh, and Hush, of course. Oh, and Hush. You gotta make sure you got Hush as well. Listen to the proposal and gain access to the terraces of Carillion. She's prepared to offer you a deal. Listen, she says. You are free to make use of Carillion. Take a penance or two. Alter your soul. I think you'll find her services very imaginative. If there's another matter, I will look into it. A devil in rose-colored gloves used to supervise the Gaslight Terrace. He was removed from that position, but I fear he may still not be entirely aligned with the objectives of Carillion. If you find out anything about him, to his disadvantage, he looks grim. Bring me the evidence, and I will reward you. I suppose, then, it would be positively remiss of me. They don't break, they multiply? Hell yeah. I guess we should, perhaps not, head back and just travel about. Explore about Carillion. Penance, deprivation can be gained here. Shift of perspective can be gained here. Ordeal can be gained here. You need a flickering soul to be admitted. I have one in all, apparently. What does that mean? Am I about to give up my soul? I feel like I'm about to give up my soul. Enlightenment can be gained here. Visit the Gaslight Terrace. Dozens of newcomers walk in that direction. It must be a safe choice. I mean, enlightenment sounds good. That sounds good. I hope. Your companions are a lady in a button cloak and a young male student. They talk about among themselves about the seasonable warmth and how the yellowish glow of the lamps does not show blue silk to best effect. Their words are commonplace, their hands folded and gloved, their opinions supplied by a respectable gazette. You have almost forgotten them even while you were still walking together. The path descends by shallow steps to a broad terrace, as crowded as an imperial exhibition. Gaslight lampposts are scattered regularly across the flagstone terrace. Between them are stations, each containing a patient receiving a treatment. Supervising devils tend to the stations, stopping first here and there, like bees at flowers. Gain a penance of enlightenment. Well, I have a bad choice of that, so I'm going to first try it. I've never met a kid named Bob. Do they just not get born at the age of 35? I know, right? The nearest station, a curate, has been shackled into an ordinary pillory. His eyes beseech you to visit him. It's hard not to see things. Devilish orderly jabs the curate with a needle. At the sight of the jab, the curate's skin goes lavender. Being treated for not believing in God. I've tried everything. Prayer, fasting, long weekends with a professional saint. None of it worked. My sermons were suffering. My bishop complained. It helped. I have dreams of snakes and angels, he says. It hasn't made me a mystic. I don't think the devils are real either. Men with funny eyes, aren't they? The devilish orderly smiles with extra teeth. The curate needs freeing. Well, I don't have a shit to perspective or enlightenment, so I'll leave him to his penance, for he is a long way from cured. And in the meantime, I suppose it's time to return to the center of Carillion and continue about my way. You brush past a matron in gray boots, a train conductor in his uniform, and a young boy who's already adopted the expression of fixed ennui. None of them notices you passing by. None show any interest in breaking from this convention. I suppose we'll have to continue on, for we still have the well to find. And we've only found Carillion. I suppose it'd be best to travel south, then. South appears to be a good place to travel to. Plenty that we should be able to find. And if need be, we can go back to Magdalen's, where we can turn in those seeds. Make ourselves a tidy profit. I believe it's 80 sovereigns per seed. A great way to make some early game money. And moving on, we shall see what we shall see. Maybe we'll regret it. Maybe we'll benefit from it. But whatever it is, we shall see. We shall see. Our map, after all, is not yet complete. So there's still quite a lot more that needs to be discovered. Whenever Day Nap is successful, it loses at least 2 members. I know, right? I'm hoping you forget to cancel your subscription, though. Ooh, we are like just a pinch away from leveling up as well. Fantastic. Oh, wait. I saw a little grave marker over there. And something up that way. You bribe your bat with moths until it tells you what it discovers. This butt! That moth is an absolute butt. Like, that moth is an absolute butt. An abandoned signal box. Windows cracked have accreted a filling of moss green dust. Once white, paint is yellowed and peeling. Signal box possesses faded dignity, like a beleaguered butler. It was designed with pride to be part of that great folly, the Isambard line. Inside, beneath the desk, covered with rusted levers, is the luggage trunk. Captains of dire need can borrow from the cash inside, but custom dictates they later replenish it. We're fine right now, so we're gonna instead just read the ledger and gain the Sky story. The handwriting is poor but legible. Captain Lau deposited fuel in the cache, hoping to gain good luck. There's a column for miscellaneous notes. The captain describes a field of debris they flew through in order to reach the signal box. Each rock was bursting with life. Tiny flowers the colors of milk jostled in the currents of the engine. The locomotive was overwhelmed with the scent of honey. Home. Suppose it's time to move on. The best golf players are players who play the least. Yup. The entire point of golf is to play as little golf as possible. Alright. What by chance has our little bat magus found for us? See quite a few lights in the distance as well. The Grand Walston. Another scarred casualty of the interminable Winchester War. We have very few chance of finding crew in the quarters occluded with frost. So instead, we decide to mourn the dead and proceed on our way. Lowering our terror is quite beneficial in these times, especially out in the frost. Primordial ruins litter the heavens. Here's a piece of one calmed and crumbling. We lack the tools or capabilities to see into what it is, so we have to move on, hoping one day in the future to pass by again. On the 10th of June, 1905, we have entered a strange corridor, only to be greeted by a raven, seeking nothing but our death. We have to flee quickly, or we will not survive a skirmish with this creature. Ugh. Too many narrow misses. Way too many narrow misses. Dark out here now, though. Not gonna lie, not a fan of the dark. Gorge's Ridge. Another bit of experience for me. Maybe I'll remember something in my past very soon. I can feel a tingle of something in the back of my head. About to remember a piece of my past. Oh, no. That's another one. This place is death. This place is death. VGM, if you're still in here, can you confirm what Kachi just said? Speedrunners sure put a lot of time into playing a game with the idea to play the least amount of time. You've learned from your experiences. Ooh, we have a lot of stuff. Promise of Days. Yup. 9,900 hours and counties. Still not satisfied. Oh yeah, Kacha, by the way, VGM down there is a world record holding speedrunner. Multiple world records. Multiple. Fun fact. Blockade of New Winchester. He fought the greatest battle of the Winchester War when the regional governor, appointed by Her Majesty, was driven from the Reach. The independent Tacites besieged the port. The loyalist stovepipes hoped to hold out until reinforcements led to the Imperial Dreadnought. Her Majesty's displeasure could arrive. Which side did you fight on? You were part of the blockade, hunting for engines, trying to supply the defenders, and scouting for the inevitable reinforcements for London. You braved the blockade, secretly running supplies to beleaguered troops. It was not enough to turn the tide. You know what? Yeah. Needs to practice Rabby more. I'm rerouting a category and I have to run for marathon in 15 hours. F. I don't want to say I was with the stovepipes, but it'll increase my veils and my iron, which is what I'm really going for right now, so I have to. Okay, there's a horror over there, it seems. Good thing I didn't go that way. Let's send out a bat. Although our supplies are now beginning to run low, which... Yo! Need emotional support while you practice? Do you need to me to talk about the depressing sights that I see? 12th of June, 1905. Our scout had come back, reporting that they had found a port. Our supplies running low. We decided that it would be best to make for that port as soon as possible, with all due haste. Snow-laden peaks rise from the mist, dwarfing them in all the impossible immensity of the mother of mountains. I believe we have found the well. If this isn't the well, I don't know what is. Newport, the crew relieved to see land, perhaps unwisely. Making port in Lustrum. Didn't I have something about Lustrum? Port Avon lies north of New Winchester. Magdalen lies southeast of New Winchester. Swear we had something related to Lustrum. Old Tom's Well. The well lies east of New Winchester. I'm dumb. It's east of New Winchester, not west. I've been going the entire wrong way. Looks like that was another lifetime ago that we discovered something related to Lustrum. The frantic hustling of Lustrum, crammed with prospectors, peddlers, and purveyors of the essential, and occasionally legal services. Most businesses take place here, unless you're a dreamer seeking your fortune on the claim fields. A fortunate navigator is thoroughly examining your engine's pipework. Check my DMs? No. No. That's awesome, Kira. That is awesome. Glad to hear it. I mean, it'd be absolutely remiss of us not to accept the Fortunate Navigator. This dude actually is pretty good to recruit. Like, Iron by 6 and Affiliation Establishment by 1. It's not the best, but Iron by 6 when I'm going high Iron right now, that's pretty cash money. He's eager for a new challenge. Won't regret this, Captain. The Navigator pumps your hand. He's an Imperial. A people descended from ancient Mongolians, led by the Eagle Khan, whose technology opened the doors to the skies. Passing Skyfarer tousles the Navigator's hair. "The luck," the woman says with a grin. The Navigator rolls his eyes. "He's from my last crew. I thought they thought I brought them luck, but I didn't. But I'm still a good hire. Bit of sovereigns lost, but that's fine with me. I'll get some unseasoned hours at a good price, but I'd rather some supplies right now. Actually, I'm gonna give myself a bit more fuel. I should have gone for supplies instead. You know what? Can I sell anything? Nope, sell. Nope. Damn. Was that for Alexei then? Just to make sure I'm getting who it's for correct. The frantic hustling of Lustrum, crammed with prospectors. Let's explore it. Write a quick port report. So much for the quiet retirement village that used to be here. The rush of prospectors has ripped the civility from the place, as efficiently as the geodes from the mountainside. The scars that remain are no less vivid. Fewer and fewer prospectors return with geodes of ours, and the cost of processing them off-site grows every day. Still, for now, Lustrum thrives and offers the promise of riches for any lucky or an industrious miner willing to come and risk everything in the snow and mud. Seek a claim of my own? For safety reasons, all claimants must hire an hour harker to escort them on the mountain. The hour harkers all agree on the importance of this. Cost 100 sovereigns, which will give us a chance to make some sovereigns later on. Search for a claim? Conditions are harsh, and the mountain seems to fight your every step. Ropes left behind by other prospectors coil around your ankles. Old boxes of supplies loiter under the snow, ready to trip you. It's almost impossible to tell the difference between one patch of land and another, never mind the value of individual claims.
What you need is an hour harker,
advises a passing hour harker. He grins. He doesn't have many teeth, but those that remain are capped with gold.
Go and find me in town if you want. Or not. There's always more of you showing up, eh?
I guess. Attempt to climb the mountain. 23% chance of success with only 3 supply, and it would cost me 2 supplies. Perhaps not. I believe for now we are going to leave Lustrum. We have our port report, which is surrounded by geodes and good stuff to find. I suppose in the meantime, then, we should head to the east of... We need to head to the east. So, in doing so, I'm going to head west. If I'm correct, this will technically also lead me east. The important part being, if I'm correct. I swear that it does discover some stuff on the other side if you can find a passage. We have to turn back, Captain. Ahead lies the wastes. Nope. Okay, apparently not. Apparently nothing lies that way. I was wrong. That is a shame. I suppose in that case I'll head around north, hoping to find Port Avon, and then eventually south down to New Winchester again. With any luck, I'll be able to find some good resources there, and maybe along the way, some riches as well. Our supplies are dwindling though, which is unfortunate. With the amount of people we have aboard, it's going to be going faster than I'd hope. Unfortunately, was not able to sell the nostalgic crockery, which is really a big shame. Frost filigrees the window. The crew shivers. A pipe splits in the cold. Yep, nothing out in this area but, well, ours, I guess. If I want to eventually come back here with a drill, we could probably make a tidy profit. Question is if we could actually get back here in time to make that profit. Especially with all the ravens that would attempt to block my passage. We barely survived fighting one of them, which, yeesh. That's some smoke. That looks like a tackety, at least. If it's a tackety, we're gonna be fine. If not, I'll have to worry a little bit. In the meantime, let's follow the tackety. It might warn us if there's anything else that seeks to do us harm. Or he's just dumb and is going to smack his dick right first into a wall. I suppose at this point we're going to turn away. What the fuck are you? What are you? Hic Svent Dracones. Oh! Retrieve. The curator's egg. One of your crew dons the thermal sky suit and steps out to the cold. Few minutes they return, clutching an object that looks like an uncomfortably large wasp egg. Reckon it's a curator's egg, they say, carefully handing it to you. It looks delicate, but has heft to it, as if something dense is nestled beneath all the papery outer layers. Someone in a busy port may sure want to buy it. I guess we'll take it aboard. What's the worst that can happen? One of your people swaddles the egg in a grease-stained blanket and wedges it into your hold. Sitting among crates and barrels, it looks more fragile than it did before. Egg can be sold at St. Dominic Station in London, Wolvesey Station in New Winchester, and King's Idol in Pan. I do not like the situation we are in right now, though. There's a horror up there as well that I do want to see in chart. Alright, while he's smacked into the rocks, we're going to now make our escape. What the fuck is this? What the fuck? Silent Saint. A vast sheet of ice is frozen over the ossified corpse of a vanquished beast. The surface is pockmarked with failed mining attempts. Collapsed shafts extend into the frigid tomb, and abandoned mining equipment litters the ice like discarded toys. Legends and rumors gather about the beast entombed, a mythic horde yet unclaimed. Isn't technically all national anthems country music? Technically. We don't have any explosives or mining equipment. So, I'm going to depart. Nothing wholesome abides here. There's nothing we have to gain from going after this. And it looks like I can't even go this way. But it looks like there's another curator's egg over here, maybe. Yup. Yeah. Retrieve. Take the egg on board. Oh, fuck me! Oh, fuck me! Those are curators! Woo! 16th of June. We're attempting escape from the curators, though I do not know what the success of our mission might be, for they are fierce and not happy with my raiding of their nest. I think we're fucked. I can't escape these. A stowaway. Conduct a thorough search. Oh my god. This may be the end. Okay. Yep, we failed to find them. Ooh. Oh my god, we are just barely hanging on. We're gonna get hit. Yup. That was a mistake. With the end of Captain Malloy, we are gonna call the stream here. Thank you all so much to everyone for coming out to support the channel. Remember to leave a follow if you liked what you saw, and if you want more adventures of the crew of the Spatchcock, feel free to leave a follow. The hull cracked and the sky poured in. Captain Malloy was lost in the ice wastes. Reason that we shouldn't go there. Until next time, this is SomaWolf signing off. Join us next time for more tales of the black box of the Spatchcock and its doomed crews. Until next time, this is SomaWolf signing off. Hope you all have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.